नमस्ते दोस्तों, टीम न्यूज़ आवर में भारत स्पीक्स में आपका बहुत-बहुत स्वागत है। मैं हूँ आपका होस्ट अमित भाटिया और हमारे साथ आज जुड़े हैं हमारी टीम से भूपिंदर सिंह जी और वेरी स्पेशल विभूति झा जी फ्रॉम यूएस। सभी जानते हैं उनको। आज एक बहुत जो गंभीर मुद्दा है, सलमान रश्दी जिनको स्टैब किया गया और आई थिंक इज स्टिल क्रिटिकल, उनके बारे में बात करना चाहेंगे। किस तरह से एक वायलेंस को बढ़ावा देता है, ये कोई नई बात नहीं है। आई थिंक ये बहुत पुराना केस था उनका, लेकिन हम देख रहे हैं कि आज भी वो डेंजर में हैं और विश्व के किसी भी कोने में हो, हमें ऐसा लगता है कि एक ऐसी आइडियोलॉजी बनती जा रही है जिसको किसी भी मोमेंट पे, आई थिंक इफ दे आर नॉट एक्टिव नाउ, दे आर प्रॉब्ली गोइंग टू बी एक्टिव एट सम पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम एंड देन दे विल गेट आफ्टर यू। इसी से रिलेटेड हम विभूति सर से कुछ और जानना चाहेंगे। विभूति सर, स्वागत है आपका। थैंक यू फॉर जॉइनिंग अस एंड इफ यू कुड जस्ट ब्रीफ अस अ बिट अबाउट कि वहाँ पे क्या सिचुएशन है, व्हाट वाज the role of Salman Rushdie and why was he in this danger actually?
Namaste. Thank you very very much to the viewers of Team News Hour. बहुत प्रसन्नता है मुझे आपके साथ जुड़े हैं। इज रूल इज हिंदी और हिंदी इंग्लिश और दोनों ही चलेगा?
दोनों चलेगा सर। आई थिंक वी
मैंने
try to make it more interactive.
मैंने तो अंग्रेजी भी हिंदी माध्यम में पढ़ी है बिहार में, तो I have no problem.
Perfect.
So somebody said that when you switch between English and Hindi, it sounds good, but it's all right. So I will tell you that Salman Rushdie I'm a great fan of his. My son has read all his books, and just to show it to you, I'm not joking. I'm talking about Satanic Verses. I have read this book. You know, he has written incredible books. Enchantress of Florence. You have his book called Shalimar the Crown, and he does all kinds of. He's written a book on shame, and then he has written another book called Grimus, plus Harun the storyteller. Excellent write-ups. The reason why I tell you, it's difficult to understand Salman Rushdie at many times because he has such a flourishing, beautiful mind, and his control over language is so amazing. कि आप सोचेंगे कि वो आप जो है आपसे वार्तालाप कर रहे हैं, कोई आप पे थोप नहीं रहे हैं कुछ भी अपने विचारों को. बट व्हाट इज इंपॉर्टेंट अबाउट हिम, हिज बुक्स इज अबाउट, जिस पे फतवा उनको हुआ था, सैतानिक वर्सेस. इट्स अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरी हाउ ही कंजर्स अप द स्टोरी. The story is about from 29,002 feet. He's very precise. 29,002 feet, a plane explodes, and two people are dropping without any parachute or any assistance. One is Gabriel, other is his chamcha. He calls it. He uses the word chamcha, and he is a form of, in a subtle way, he is a form of Muhammad. Both come on the land in English Channel in Britain, and then they begin to have a conversation. The beauty of the entire process is, and that's what is important, is while their experience of life is about reality, God, religion, and he's an amazing political satirist because of his brilliant mind. So as a result of which, he raises questions. He raises questions about existence, about God, about nature. And he's a brilliant mind. So he's a well-read person also. So now when he wrote this book, Satanic Verses, this is very important for everybody to understand that he questioned and he commented upon in a funny way, in a humorous way, which also makes you doubt on Islam, the faith, brought out the inconsistency in it. The difference between Gabriel, the Christian, and Muhammad, the Muslim, that is there, is all about how they all view the book. Christianity has done one very smart thing. Galileo onwards, We all thought that Earth was flat. Galileo was guillotined for his scientific discoveries. But we know that since then, science and technology has advanced. Think about it. From Toronto to Noida to New York, we are all live show कर रहे हैं अभी हम. Correct? ये possible नहीं था किसी समय में. Although Sanjay in Mahabharata talks about the Durdashi, he had a vision that he could narrate, give a live commentary to Dhritarashtra sitting in the palace. Think about it from that perspective, the vision. So in Satanic Verses, what he has done is he has commented upon inconsistencies in Islam. And as a result of which, Islam follows the book. It is a mandate. It is a obligation for everybody, all the followers of Islam, to follow the text. Uske alawa kuch sachai hai nahi. That itself is a subject matter of conversation. Because the book was written 1400 years ago. There was no iPhone, no iPad, no computers at that point in time. So the reality shifted. Christianity was smart. They configured that we have to acknowledge science and technology, and they adapted. Right? They have done discoveries, inventions of medicines, warfare, everything else. So as a result of which they evolved, and Islam remained stuck. वो कहते हैं कि गाय खूटे में बैठ के फंस गई वहां पे, उसकी पूरी चौहद्दी ही वहीं की रह गई. तो अगर आप अपने चौहद्दी से बाहर नहीं निकलेंगे तो आपको पता भी नहीं चलेगा क्या हो रहा है. लेकिन this is where the problem lies, and that is where, because of it was an insult of the Prophet, not God, not Allah, but because it was the insult of Prophet and the text, they issued the fatwa. This is a tragic situation, and that a free mind, the freedom of speech became a question item here. I mean, what is freedom of speech? Today, the United States is debating that issue between blasphemy and freedom of speech. So that's why the fatwa was there. I'm very glad to share that his ventilator is out, and his son apparently made a statement, and I just wanted to read out to you what he said exactly. The family says that he was in a critical condition, and his son Zafar made a statement. Though his life-changing injuries are severe, his usual feisty and defiant sense of humor remains intact. That's a critical word that Zafar has issued. His defiant sense of humor. That the freedom of expression is alive. So he is a beacon of freedom of speech, and he's such a learned man that to an American audience, he talked about Natya Shastra, exactly on this subject matter, that in the Natya Shastra का जो उन्होंने चर्चा की है, वो सुन के आपको मानना पड़ेगा कि बंदा ने पढ़ा लिखा काम किया है. And that's what is important, that he was a knowledgeable man, and he talks about the freedom of speech is a Western concept. In Indian texts, it was written 10,000 years ago. So it's part of our life. That's what is important about it. It's a very sad thing that the Congress party at that point in time, under the pressure of Rafiq Zakaria, persuaded Rajiv Gandhi to ban him and his book. Thank you.
Vibhuti sir, as you have told us regarding the fatwa, which was, I think, taken out in 1998 or so. You know, one person who translate this book into the Japanese, I think he was also killed that time. And the relationship between the Britishers and the Irani government was all-time low because of this book. So can you just put light on this issue?
See, the book जो है ना, this is a political element, sir. A political element that when you have a democratic setup, one of the essence of democracy is freedom of speech, the right to ask questions, make an inquiry. And what is freedom of speech? That also is misunderstood. Freedom of speech is not about standing in a park or on a TV show and giving a speech. That doesn't mean freedom of speech. In my definition of freedom of speech, it is about making an inquiry. Why this? What is that? How did it happen? Who did it? These are the questions about freedom of speech, which essentially leads to discoveries, inventions, innovations, and transformative change. This is where evolution happens. Whether you evolve or you remain stuck in a position is an element of a theological belief in Islam that there is no other truth beyond Sharia or Quran or whatever Prophet said. My thought process about that freedom of speech dispute is all about that, कि उसकी वजह से क्या हुआ है कि अगर आज की तारीख में अगर आप देखें तो आप कोई भी चीज खोल के पढ़ सकते हैं. अब कोई छुपा हुआ, अब कोई बात छुपी तो नहीं है. So when you do not have anything hidden, when you can ask a question based on whatever is written in the book, right? Whatever you are saying. So if you are saying that 72 virgins is a reality, I have the freedom of speech to ask, is it reality? Is it real that they exist? Is this a very innocent inquiry of a child? When I came to the US, I went to Disneyland, and there was a beautiful quote of Walt Disney in which he said that if you want to see the world, see it from the eyes of a child. Well, that's the innocent child that asks a question. Daddy, ye kyun hota hai? Mummy, ye kyun hota hai? You know? But when you become dogmatic, कि मदर ने खाना दिया और खाने में नमक नहीं डाला, अगर मैंने मॉम को पूछा कि भाई मॉम सॉल्ट देना, सॉल्ट नहीं है इसमें, should my mom get angry about it? Or should she say, oh my God, I forgot, here is salt? That's the element. I'm breaking it down to a very simple platform. That inquiry, making an inquiry, कि आप डर के मारे ये बोले ही नहीं कि सॉल्ट है कि नहीं है, वैसा ही खाना खा लिया, then it is problematic. That's the issue, that Islam has violence as a tool of negotiation. Unfortunately, because in my opinion, I have told my Muslim friends that if you believe Allah is supreme, good for you. If that is your belief, be happy about it. Don't tell me I'm wrong about mine. That is where the equality thing comes about. So when violence is your tool of negotiation, there can't be a negotiation.
Right, sir. What would you say about, these are the, especially this attack has happened in United States where you are there as well. And uh, above that, we have also seen, of late, maybe in the past 10, 20 years, I don't think it used to happen before that, but जो इस्लामिक रेडिकलाइजेशन वहां पे बढ़ी है और जिस तरह से ये इंसिडेंट्स बढ़ते जा रहे हैं, एंड इवन अ पर्सन ऑफ हिज स्टेचर, these people used to took refuge there, right? So they are not safe there as well. So how do you see the situation going forward about that, and what is causing this?
That's a very important and good question. I must say that to you because of the simple reason that today, if you see America, people from southern side of the border are coming in droves, hundreds of thousands, लाखों आ रहे हैं. भूपिंदर जी को तो मालूम होगा, ये कनाडा में रहते हैं, तो you know the story here. Why are they coming here? To make their economic life better. Like economic and political life, freedom, and all that stuff that goes with it. But if those things become difficult to attain, then nobody will come here. So Salman Rushdie's incident is almost a very seminal moment for America, because he was a Muslim. He was from India, a very enlightened man, a very popular man, very popular man. And he was respected as a beacon of freedom of speech. Can you imagine that a Muslim man from India was talking about satanic verses, and he was talking about inconsistencies because he had read Veda, he had read Natya Shastra, and he knew what life is all about. Life is beyond religious texts. So it is a very dangerous situation. Today, somebody could hit me. I'm a nobody. Who will care? One more death, one more accident. But this is the approach, and that has now become a political gameplay. Physics ka law hai, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. There is a reaction here. Even people like people like Farid Zakaria, the whole literary world has condemned this attack. So now what will Iran do? They will issue fatwa on everybody now. But it's important to bear in mind that it was Farid's father, Rafiq Zakaria, who had forced Rajiv Gandhi to ban the book in India and declare Salman Rushdie as a person non grata, not to come to India. But again, Farid Zakaria has evolved. If he hadn't evolved, he would not have said what he said, and he made a very powerful statement. That's the important part. There is, वो कहते नहीं है कि और नहीं बस और नहीं, ये situation अब अमेरिका में आ गई है. So now you are totally right that they are trying to subdue the rule of law in this country by taking advantage of the rule of law. So what is that rule of law? Freedom of religion, right? But you can't question my belief. If you question my belief, it is blasphemy law, Islamophobia. So there are people of Islamic faith in US Congress who are pushing for an Islamophobia bill, which is essentially meant to subjugate you and I. Today we won't be able, even if the Islamophobia bill was there, you and I won't be able to talk even as an issue.
विभूति सर, कंटिन्यूइंग विद योर टॉक, ईरान में जो है वहां पर एक सेलिब्रेशन देखी गई सलमान रश्दी पे अटैक जो हुआ, वहां के पेपर्स में एक सेलिब्रेशन के मैसेज जो हैं दिए गए लोगों को. तो ये किस तरह की मानसिकता और माइंडसेट एक कंट्री का है, इसके बारे में कुछ बताएंगे आप?
Again, I said to you right in the beginning, it is the diktat of the book. They are driven. As the saying goes, किसी ने बताया था, if your mind is driven to kill people who do not agree with you, that is the danger signal about the book. And अब क्या हो गया है, thanks to internet, thanks to technology, आज आप पूरा का पूरा शरिया पढ़ सकते हैं. कुरान में क्या है पढ़ सकते हैं, किसी जमाने में नहीं पढ़ सकते थे उसे. तो आज हम उसके बारे में जानने लगे हैं. और हम और आप जैसे जागरूक लोग, क्योंकि हम पढ़ते हैं, हम सोचते हैं, देखते हैं, तो हमें हमारी फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच इज इंपॉर्टेंट कि भाई ये कर क्यों रहा है. वैसे उस तरह के लोगों को या तो आप इंक्लूड करें. उनका इंक्लूसिवनेस का मतलब यही है कि हम जैसे हैं हम वैसे ही करेंगे, तुमको बदलना है तुम बदलो. तो आज अगर हम और आप इस मामले में सख्त हो जाएंगे कि हम तुम्हें अपनाएंगे नहीं अब. Why would I want to deal with an Iranian if I know, or anybody from Islamic faith? It's a sad story. Sad story, because I know that individually those people are not bad. My phrase I tell my Muslim friends as well, individually you and I are as good or as bad a person as anybody can be. हम सब में अपनी अपनी कमजोरी है, हम सबकी अपनी अपनी महत्ता है, हम सबकी अपनी अपनी टैलेंट है. लेकिन हम कहेंगे कि भगवत गीता के अलावा और कोई किताब है ही नहीं, तो ये हमारी शायद मूर्खता होगी, which doesn't mean that I disrespect Bhagavad Gita. But the point here is very important. ये मानसिकता की जो बात की है भूपिंदर साहब जी ने, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है कि वो माइंड जो है वो बंध गया है उस खुटे से, और उसके अलावा कुछ सोचने की उनको परमिशन नहीं है. This, unfortunately, I dare say, is a mental signature of slavery. And that is the horrible thing to go through that feeling. Can you imagine if Amit ji or Bhupinder ji were told कि आपको इसके अलावा और सोचने की इजाजत नहीं है, क्या सोचेंगे आप? कहाँ गई मेरी फ्रीडम फिर? This is important. They are indulging in slave practices.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल विभूति सर, देखिए 21वीं शताब्दी में हम लोग रह रहे हैं अभी, और आपके यूएस में ही एलन मस्क जैसे लोग जो हैं मंगल ग्रह पर जाने की सोच रहे हैं. तो अगर हम इन रूढ़िवादी मानसिकता को लेके और पुराने खूंटों से, जैसे आपने कहा, हम बंधे रहेंगे, तो मानवता कैसे आगे जाएगी? और मतलब क्या ये वक्त की बर्बादी है, या मतलब इसको किस तरह से हम टैकल कर पाएंगे फ्यूचर में?
देखिए, हमारे हिंदू धर्म के हिसाब से धर्म एक बहुत बड़ी चीज होती है. हम धार्मिक लोग हैं, और धार्मिक लोग का एक प्रवृत्ति होती है कि हम वाद विवाद विश्लेषण विमोचन विख्यान करते हैं, और हमें करना भी चाहिए, क्योंकि हम एक समान नहीं है। हम तीनों को देख लीजिए, दुनिया भर में कहाँ भी देख लीजिए, इक्वालिटी इज अ कॉन्सेप्ट which is remarkably important, but there is no equality of outcomes. आप मेजर रहे हैं, मैं बैंक कर रहा हूं, अमित जी आईटी में है, तो क्या हम सबों को मिलिट्री में होना चाहिए था? क्या हम सबों को बैंकर बनना चाहिए था? क्या इक्वल डिलीवरी ऑफ प्रोडक्ट होगी? नहीं होगी। तो इसका जो है, अब ये इट्स अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन, हाउ विल वी ड्रैग द वर्ल्ड फॉरवर्ड when one section of the people are dragging everybody behind? My example is very simple. चाहे गाड़ी जो भी हो, अगर पंक्चर हो गई तो आगे नहीं जाएगी. So this is a situation of an actual puncture where people are refusing, but they use this too. They use this technology all the time. They are educated people. 9/11, the people who committed this they were educated people. Poverty was not the reason. So there is an ideology that drives, and we have to, and I applaud the ex-Muslims who have dared to come out. I definitely admire these people, because ex-Muslims must begin to be adopted in the community, because उनका एक और भी rule है कि इस्लाम छोड़ा तो आपको मार देंगे. So when the violence becomes the essential tool of conversation, you can't have a conversation. So we, as an aware citizens of this, we have to demand, my favorite word, reciprocity. अगर आप यहाँ आओगे तो यहाँ के कानून के हिसाब से आपको रहना होगा. You can't impose your will on me, my way or highway. That we have to begin to stand up and contest.
Right, sir. So I think we have seen that happening for a long time in India, right? We have suffered that kind of an ideology for last 1,000 years, I would say. जो हम देखते आ रहे हैं, I mean, it's not that we are alien to that, but still it has taken us so much of time, and we are at this juncture where, I mean, half of our original land has been already kind of taken over and radicalized in a way. So, do you see actually India taking any lead in reforming this as well? Should the world try to understand and learn things from India in dealing with these, and where do you think we are going from India's perspective in this matter?
Brilliant question, sir, because life is about mutual coexistence.
Yeah.
That's what our practice teaches us, right? But when somebody is making a cultural invasion, political invasion, then you have to stand up. You have to protect and defend, and that's our dharma. Its time has come for Indians, and I say Indians and Hindus and Muslims, those who feel for the Christians, anybody. I mean, we are the home to every religion in the world. That's the beauty of India. We are at fault. We are at fault. आज जैसे there is a famous TV guy and commentator, Anand Raghunathan. He narrated on the tweet that so many millions of Hindus were killed, so many millions have happened, this is how they were looted. I replied to that I agree with you that so much happened. My question is, why did we let it happen? We need to answer that question. So the politicization of our societies and the cultural invasion that has happened of our country, in which we are undermined above everything else. अब कहिए मोहनदास करमचंद गांधी जी ने जब वो लिखेंगे कि जब मुसलमान आपको मारना आता है तो आप खुशी खुशी मर जाओ, ये किस तरह की बहादुरी है? हमने ऐसा होने क्यों दिया? सारा ज्ञान था हमारे पास, सारी बुद्धि थी, उसके बावजूद हमने ये होने दिया क्यों? अगर इस प्रश्न का हम उत्तर नहीं ढूंढेंगे, then we will become like the famous statement that the earth is littered with corpses of men and women who didn't learn the lessons of history. if after this हम शिकायत करते हैं कि हजारों साल से हम पे रूल हुआ, लेकिन मैं ये पूछता हूँ as a very proud Hindu, proud Indian, I ask this question, हमने ये होने क्यों दिया? इस सवाल का हमें जवाब ढूंढना पड़ेगा भाई साहब. I think yourself, myself on Jaipur Dialogue, all of us, we need to answer this question. Why did we let it happen? Was it greed for money? Survival? क्यों ऐसा होता है कि 5 मुस्लिम आते हैं, गांव में तलवार भांजते हैं और 1000 वहां से भाग जाते हैं? कहां गई हमारी पलायन, कहां गई हमारी क्षत्रियता और लड़ने की ताकत? हम पलायनवाद पे क्यों विश्वास करने लगे साहब?
बिल्कुल विभूति सर, आपका सवाल जो आप बता रहे हैं बिल्कुल सही है. जनरली मैं भी एग्जांपल देता हूं अपनी सिख कम्युनिटी की, कैसे महाराजा दलीप सिंह को अंग्रेज जो है ब्रिटेन में ले गए और कैसे उनको क्रिश्चियन बना दिया और उनको भी दफनाया गया बाद में. अगर वो पंजाब में शायद रहते तो एक महाराजा का सिंबॉलिक रहते और पंजाब कभी भी जो है खंडित नहीं होता. सर, माय लास्ट क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम यू इज लाइक, यू आर इन न्यूयॉर्क, तो एक एनआरआई कम्युनिटी इस अटैक को किस तरह से देख रही है और किस प्रकार के रिएक्शंस आपने रेडियो या अखबारों में देखे एज फार एज द एनआरआई कम्युनिटी इज कंसर्न इन यूएसए?
With reference to Salman Rushdie's thing alone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, yes, the one thing which has happened, and I want to tell very clearly to all your audiences, you know, in the hierarchy of ranking, if you look at Prime Minister Modi's contribution to our way of life, has been that उन्होंने हिंदुओं के मुंह खोल दिए. हिंदी का बड़ा अच्छा शब्द है, मुखार बिंदु खुल गए हैं हिंदुओं के आज. तो आज जो है सब, everybody has begun to ask questions. There is a sense of pride. हम पहले भी गोल्ड मेडल जीतते थे CWG गेम्स में और एशियन गेम्स में, लेकिन अब जो है उसका बहुत उत्साह के साथ उसका अभिनंदन करते हैं. There is much greater pride in celebrating. That's what is important. This is what has happened, that every NRI now, at least in America, I see it, I say it in Long Island, people are talking unabashedly, bravely, कि ये नहीं होना चाहिए था, ये गलत बात थी, और ये जो कर रहा है इसके अलावा हमें क्या करना है, how to stop that, is a question in the minds of everybody. This is absolutely essential, because that's the true meaning of freedom of speech, to be able to ask. And I repeat that freedom of speech is not about giving a long speech standing in a park or on a podium. Freedom of speech is about making inquiries. What, how, when, why? This is what leads to inventions, discoveries. Otherwise, bhai sahab, Apple would have been falling on the ground. A question wouldn't have been asked, why on the ground, right? Led to a scientific discovery. Computers, iPads, iPhones. Think about it. Samsung. Everything is a new invention. You are from IT field. You know that this little instrument is actually हमारी दुनिया हमारी मुट्ठी में है साहब. आज आप उलन बतौर में क्या टेम्परेचर है वो भी देख सकते हैं इस पे आप.
Yeah, I mean,
we are living in a different world, so there is a condemnation and a concern also that how the political system will handle this, because politics is a very tricky business. Everybody wants to win the vote, and these people have understood that. They vote en bloc. They create their own scenario, and that needs to be addressed. This has to be, you have to have a conversation. I want to say this: violence is not a negotiation tool. It's a bullying tool. It's a desperate tool of somebody who is losing, who is in the losing side. They can't afford exposure. And that's what I admire the ex-Muslim guys, because they have become aware of the truth. That's what I'll say.
Right, sir. So I think that was a really good interaction, sir. It was, I mean, कहीं ना कहीं हमें ये भी देखना पड़ेगा कि we can use the same tools in two ways. I mean, either we can use a certain tool as a weapon or for constructive purposes. So as you said, जो IT है I mean, they are using it. They are using it in a destructive manner, and I mean the same thing. If we use it in a good way, it can change, make a lot of changes. And यही चीज शायद हमारे पास जो भी टेक्नोलॉजी है या जो भी चीजें वो इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं to suppress people, I think we have to slowly understand, get together and brainstorm, and then make good use of those tools so that we can go ahead of them, not to destroy them, but to अपनी जो लकीर है वो बड़ी करने के लिए शायद, so that I mean they can realize and see the truth, and then they can come into the mainstream, right? I mean, so that's what
एक बात मैं जाते जाते एक कहूंगा. Now we do a lot of work and we take our life lessons from armed forces and sports. This I want to share with your audience. What makes a successful sportsman? The one who is always willing to learn, understands the competition, competes, and the success comes when you win or you lose. Doesn't matter, but you participated. You played to win. What is the beauty of armed forces? It instills in you a sense of duty, responsibility, and being prepared for the eventual act. You don't get up to shooting practice जब war शुरू होगी तो जाग बंदूक चलाएंगे. You are in a perpetual state of readiness. You have to be in a perpetual state of readiness. And what happens? Major must have been taught by Havaldar how to do certain things, right, sir? मेरे बहुत सारे दोस्त मिलिट्री में रहे हैं तो मैं जानता हूं इस बात को. So the point is, you have to be able to be a learner. It's only when you learn then you become better. You improve your marksmanship, your ability to fight, your ability to combat. All these things come not by sitting at home and seeing that X book is better than the Y book. Dharma jo hai, religion, not dharma. Religion as practiced will have to be relooked by you and I, all three of us, and those who are watching us from a different prism and perspective. God created life, and some smart aleck created religion. But all religions are beautiful. There is no problem with religion, but as it gets practiced. Because when we begin to say, my religion is the best and everybody else is stupid, then you have a problem.
And then you have closed your mind, actually.
Yeah, that's where the perspective is very important.
Right.
आप जिसकी भी पूजा करो, जिस ग्रंथ की पूजा करो, आप ग्रंथ साहब के भक्त हैं, आप मैं भगवत गीता का भक्त हूं, आप बाइबल के भक्त हैं, आप कुरान के भक्त हैं, खुश रहिए भाई अपनी किताबें पढ़ के. ये मत कहिए कि मेरी किताब तुम्हारी किताब से अच्छी है. जरूरत नहीं है. अगर है भी तो कहने की
है भी तो सर, है भी तो अगर कह भी दिया तो गला मत काटिए किसी का. I think that is, I mean, you cannot go to extremes for that.
Exactly.
Right? You can believe what you want to believe, that's fine.
That's right.
But yeah. So, Ji, I think it was really enlightening discussion. Glad to have you, sir, and thank you so much. Hopefully, we'll have many more interactions on varied subjects. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you, Jha sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
Namaste. Jai Hind.
I'm running for New York State Assembly candidate. Support me and pray for me.
Absolutely, sir. We are with you.
नमस्कार. हम हर रात 9:30 बजे ट्विटर स्पेसेस पे लाइव होते हैं. हमारे साथ जुड़िए और विभिन्न देश विदेश की खबरों पर अपनी राय प्रकट कीजिए. इसके साथ ही हमारे YouTube चैनल टीम न्यूज़ आवर को भी सब्सक्राइब कीजिए, शेयर कीजिए, लाइक कीजिए और अपने कमेंट्स भी छोड़िए. धन्यवाद.